Alright, so just dry this a little bit, just so it's not too runny when I'm adding some of this other color in here. So now when we're getting toward the skin tone, it's gonna be a little more, I guess, dry. That's not really the right word, because it's not really dry brushing, but kind of just, you know, you're not really laying it on real thick. Kind of doing kind of the dry brush kind of strokes, but you're not really getting more. You're trying to get coverage, but you're not necessarily trying to fill in every nook and cranny that is present. Just kind of do this till you get kind of like an even spread, and we're gonna do a few layers of this. Don't worry about if you see a little brush strokes or anything like that. Kind of smear it a little bit. Again, I'm putting a lot of retarder in it, and that'll give you a little bit of room to kind of brush it along. So make sure you got a lot of light for this. I find that, especially for skin tone, the more light the better. A lot of colors you can kind of get away with, you know, just kind of blindly painting. But skin tone, there's definitely a lot of different shades and consistencies of it. So I definitely suggest get a lot of lights in here. I have 3 around my desk that I don't always have on, but they're at my disposal if I need it. And also, you're going to want to take good pictures of your models, so it's a good investment to get some nice lights. I mean, they don't really have to be nice, but you know, ones that you can kind of twist, and make sure you get some nice kind of daylight white bulbs. None of the yellow stuff, because that'll just discolor your model. And then go back on the stuff you've done and kind of hit the highlights, kind of eyebrows, right underneath the eyes, nose, stuff like that. Get all the places where they've kind of protrude from the face, and that's where highlights are going to be. And so focus your color right there, and kind of smear it inwards to the crevices and sinkages and whatnot, all the complex dealios with the face. And kind of use a retarder to smear it in. Definitely try and, you know, get a nice smooth finish, even if the colors aren't necessarily smooth. Just having like a real nice fade, I guess, is really key. So no one item, no one highlight, or no one shadow really stands out, and it'll keep people from noticing your paint job, which, you know, maybe you want them to really look at it. And I have seen a lot of people kind of use purples and colors like that you wouldn't really find on a face, just so that key features kind of like pop out at you when they want the main focus of the piece to be on the figures themselves and not necessarily the armor or plane That's really, I find that really interesting, but I don't really have the skill or balls to do it. I like to keep mine a little more natural. Just keep working it. You're gonna want to, you know, put down everything at once, and that's gonna be a huge mistake. So just take your time, you know, layer it on, and it'll look better because you did that, I promise. Of course, we're probably gonna put a light wash on all the figures, so if some detail kind of got a little too white on you, well, don't stress about it. It's a lot better to just leave it and add a wash or something like that after than it would be to try and go back and put a little black or a little darker in there, because you're bound to mess up, and you know, if there's a problem, it's easier to kind of wait to try and fix it than try and fix it right then and there, just because, you know, you'll end up making mistakes and making it worse. You don't want that. Alright, so I've painted my guys, and now I'm going to have a camo on here, and it's actually a really light blue. Let's see, it's light blue, yeah. Mr. Color 20. And I was kind of concerned because the instruction packet said for a light blue camo, and I thought that was really weird. And I looked up pictures of Soviet era infantry Russian guys, and sure enough, they had the exact same camo pattern. So that's what I'm gonna use. So basically, I'm just gonna really load my brush up nice. The paint be nice and thick, because you don't want the separate. Because if you're hand brushing, you don't want the separation of like thinness and whatever. So make sure it's nice and thick. Add some retarder in it as well to make sure it levels out, and just kind of, I wouldn't say random, but it's definitely kind of splotchy, and definitely be really careful and keep like very in mind that this is going to be all over, so keep like, be wary of the other where you've done before, and just follow that pattern, and then do little deviations away from it, but just always try and keep the same kind of pattern, try and keep the same kind of shape, and not so ones don't look too big or too small, because then that'll be a huge distraction. So I'm kind of blobbing this on, but it's kind of what you want, because it's try not to follow any straight lines. It's a pretty obvious giveaway on these things. That's not too bad. Just going to continue this on all the rest of the kits and the rest of the models. Then I'm going to go in, put a little more, go in their fine details, put some not eyelashes, eyebrows, and I think one of the guys has a beard, or not a mustache, and so I'll fill that in. And then I'm going to dust these as well, so they can match with the main tank. Alright, so I finished painting this model, I finished weathering it, and I finished, putting the decals and getting a little soot in there. So now we're going to start, dusting it and making it part of the scene. So right now it's really clean, and it's going over all this, this dusted kind of area, this desert area. So it needs to blend in. What I've done already is put a little bit of deserty, kind of like gunk, a little bit of gunk on the bottom here. But right now, what we need to do is just dust the entire thing, so that it all looks uniform. So what I have here is I just have this little I don't even know what you call it. It's just a little tray with little things. Maybe I think you use it for watercolor or something. I don't know. But in here I just have some powders that I've mixed, and I do suggest buying like pre-mixed stuff, just to make sure it's uniform. Or what I do is I have just pastels. I have a few more than this, and I just make my own. I just make it up large batches. But having the pre-mixed stuff is nice because it's all uniform. But having having a bunch of colors is nice because maybe you don't need to buy a big thing of pink. You're never gonna use it other than once or twice. So this is have here, and just use a very, very soft brush. It's very, very soft. It's called a Tetzel blender. Very, very soft. Very, very soft. And just gonna get it all on the brush and just start like rubbing it in. So if I didn't mention before, I put a flat coat on this. That is a must when you're doing powders. So you just kind of rub it. You just rub it in. It's gonna catch all the faces that it needs to catch. I mean, this is gonna be the first coat, so don't be worried that maybe it's not as heavy as if you like it. Right now, we're just looking for a uniform effect of this. This APC has been, it's been traveling around. It's been traveling around, so it's not clean. It has not been washed in a while. So every bit of this is gonna have some dust on it. So don't be afraid to just get right up in here and just start, going at it. And you can already see the difference that it makes just by, doing a bit of this. It really starts to blend, what you've done into the diorama that you are placing this on. And that's important because, you know, it's really gonna distract you if you look at a diorama and it's like, this tank is very, very clean, yet it's in mud. That doesn't make sense, and you're gonna get yelled at a lot. So now, yeah, you can see it already on the camera that, you know, this is making a huge difference. So I'm just gonna do this. So the entire thing's gonna get dusted, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back and add a little bit, and then I'm gonna flat coat it again to seal all what I've just done in. And then I'm going to go again on places like the bottom and the tires and whatnot that are going to get hit, you know, more than, you know, the top. With the top right here, you know, dust is going to come up from, you know, things traveling and, you know, in front of it and whatnot. But, you know, the tires in the front, like right underneath here, that's going to get hit just constantly, so it's going to get it's going to have a lot more, you know, dust and whatnot. And also, you know, remember that this is dust. This is not, you know, this is not dirt. So don't like clump it up and whatnot, because that's just going to look like, you know, dirt, and that's not the effect we're going for. We're looking for a dusting. We're looking for a light. You know, it's going through the desert. It's gonna be getting hit by a bunch of sand and dust. Well, here it is, guys. My finished BTR-80a diorama. Came out really good. You know, I haven't really done anything like this, a diorama kind of set up like this. So, you know, definitely a very good learning experience. A lot of new techniques that I discovered. But I think it came out pretty good. Yeah, no complaints. I really like the dust effect. I did a few different things, you know, from the last bit of the video. I put a little of the powder in a flat base kind of coat, and just lightly kind of sprayed just a little bit here and there, and that really helped to give it a nice kind of like look, like it was, you know, dust, and it wasn't just like paint that's on there. It was dust that had like settled on the surface. So that came out really awesome. Really happy with that. The guys look good. You know, I think if I had a little more time, a little more experience, you know, could have maybe made the guys look maybe not as stiff. But that's just kind of how it goes. You get these figures and they have one configuration, and if you want to change that configuration, you might as well sculpt an entire new figure. But you know, I feel like it's good enough. So yeah, this is just a really cool looking piece. You know, it's large, which is, you know, it's a problem. I'm having a hard time even getting it on my camera, and not sure exactly where I'm gonna display this, but it's a very, very cool, very, very cool piece. And I am definitely going to, you know, I'm not necessarily going to make another diorama right away next, but definitely makes me not afraid to try something this ambitious again, because I feel like this is pretty ambitious. I mean, it may not seem, you know, that ambitious when you kind of look at it here, but there's a lot of different, you know, things here that I had to do. You know, I made the molding, I made the base, had to integrate, you know, the model and the figures into the base so they look like they were there. Definitely a lot of, you know, little things there that I had to do, and so it was fairly complicated. But yeah, no, I'm really excited the way it came out. You know, the video does not give it justice, but I took about, let's say about maybe 30 pictures. So I'll be placing a link in the description, as well as an annotation in the video, which you can click on and you can see the whole image set, which you should, because there's a lot of different detail that I put in here that, you know, it's not gonna, you know, look good like that coming out. So I'm gonna go and look at those photos for sure. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna do next, but I have a few things that I've purchased that I'll dig into. All right, well, yep, this is the BTR-80a Afghanistan War kind of diorama, not historically accurate, mind you. Yeah, so go check out the pictures that I posted. Hit that subscribe button, and I will see you next time.